Okay, I'm gonna try this, see what happens. So what I'm trying to do is I'm gonna try to do a little bit of live, going live on Instagram right now, while also recording on my iPad. And then the recording on the iPad, assuming I like how it goes, I will then release as a podcast for tomorrow. And the goal is that instead of nobody listening to the podcast, now nobody can watch the live stream and nobody can listen to the podcast. Basically, I'm increasing the number of people not listening to what I'm doing. And I think if I get enough people not listening, I want to say the millions. Like I can get billions of people not to listen or watch anything I do. And I think if I get to that point, I really feel like I will have arrived. I'm drinking a peach tranquility tea. It's called peach tranquility. And peach tranquility tea has never given me tranquility. It's not that strong. I don't agree with the title of that tea. I think it's not able to deliver on the promise of tranquility. The peach, I get a hint of peach. And that's what it should just be called. A little bit of peach. It's a little bit of peach tea. That's what it is. Tranquility? No, you don't. The only, like the stuff that Michael Jackson was on when he died, and which was also the same stuff that they gave me when they performed a cystoscopy, where that's where they jam a camera up my urethra, which happened last year. Pre-COVID, good times. That drug, I would call that drug tranquility, because I don't remember what happened, equals tranquility. But this peach tranquility, at best, it kind of tastes like peach, and if I'm really, really stressed, I will be still, no, it's not changing my stress level. So I mentioned this so I'm reading about how there's this, the vaccine coming out, and I read that they say the vaccine is, 95% effective, 94% effective. And as a result, they're going to apply for an emergency use authorization. And the question I have for the good people at the United States government is, maybe this time around, can we just skip the paperwork? We're in the middle of, people are dying of this every day. Maybe, can we get to the point where we just go to Pfizer or whoever and go, you know what? Close enough. Let's just give it out now. Let's go. Applying for emergency use authorization. The idea that there's a room somewhere and someone is just filling out these forms, Form A27, and there's somebody else going, oh, you know what? You need to initial that. If you don't initial that, you're going to have to start over. All right. That is what is keeping us from the vaccine. But it hasn't been adequately tested. You know what has been adequately tested? The plague. It's very effective at killing people. So maybe if the plague is going to kill people anyway, I don't know. Did they stick it in a rat? How's the rat doing? Is the rat still there? Is Pinky are they still plotting to take over the world tomorrow? Pinky in the brain when they were injected with it? Fine, just get it out there. But bear in mind, I'm not by any stretch of the imagination, I'm not a scientist person. So I'm sure, maybe there is a good reason that they have to file an emergency use authorization form. Maybe if they file that form, someone will look at the last piece of paper and go, oh, wait a minute, wait. You say this has cyanide in it? Doesn't that hurt people? Oh, you're right. Boy, it's a good thing we filled out this form. Okay. Yeah. So update for those of you who are listening to this tomorrow on the podcast. As I'm recording this, I'm not recording this live. I'm doing this live on Instagram, And there's no one watching at this point. If you do stand up in the forest and no one is around, that's a Buddhist koan. That's what that is. Or maybe it's called a Buddhist koan. A Buddhist koan is a Jewish person who's Buddhist. I'm also, by the way, trying not to record this in the car anymore because the last time I tried to record it in the car, a guy ran out and tried to get me to hit him, I think, and that freaked me out a bit. So I thought, well, I need to pay full attention in the car in case there's more of that insanity happening. But, there's no... Listen, if you're feeling good about yourself, by the way, do an Instagram Live for 0 people. If your self-esteem is too high, do the Instagram Live like this. And just know that, Mark Maron, thousands of people are watching him. And zeros of people are watching me. This Instagram thing has been saying, hang on, we're telling more followers to join your video now for 6 minutes and 10 seconds. That's how good my following is. I am not doing social media right. There are people who do it right, and they have millions of followers. I have just not gotten the memo. I think part of the problem is I am not popular. I'm going to do a bit now, or I'm going to workshop a bit with you about not being popular as I am live streaming to 0 people. There's the bit. I'm done writing. What do I need to write? I've never felt like I was popular. Occasionally, I think people have told me that they liked me, but I don't believe them. I push them away. I don't trust them. I have a problem with that. I push people away to the point that 0 people are watching me on Instagram Live. Why do I push people away, you ask? Well, that's a fantastic question. Why do I push people away? I push people away because because I don't believe that anyone will stick around. Like, I remember when, like, the first best friend I ever had, I knew him for about a year, and then he moved away. I think he moved to North Carolina, where he became a guy in North Carolina. I don't know where I was going with that. But at any rate, I was devastated that he moved away. And then I had another friend who moved away. There's some alcoholism in the family. So there's a lot of that going on. So emotionally, I always kind of felt, not always, but I felt, I guess I felt a little bit of an absence. And so my response to that now is to not even let people in because I figure I will be disappointed. And the more that I meet people, the more that I start to get to know people, the more that I really feel proven right. Uh-oh. It paused. It paused due to poor connection, but the podcast is still going. The live stream paused due to poor connection, but the podcast, I was able to capture this this joy there. So yes, I push myself away from people, and I don't try to. The other thing I've learned too is that for a while, like, I would try to be people's friends. I would try. I've asked a few people out here or there, and every time I feel like I have tried to initiate any kind of a relationship, it always feels like it blows up in my face, or it just never quite works out. And I think I've become such a control freak that I wait for people to say, hey, I want to be your friend, or hey, I'm attracted to you, so that I can be in control of the situation, which is probably probably in the adult child of an alcoholic playbook somewhere. I want to say somewhere between laundry list item 2 and 3. And so so there's, I also think I am an alcoholic. In fact, I'm pretty sure I'm an alcoholic because I have an addictive personality, and I think I'm interesting. So that's probably the sign of it right there. But I don't drink, so I'm what's called a dry drunk. So I have all the, which I think means I have all the negative behavior patterns of an alcoholic, but none of the fun. And I have no desire right now to even try to date. I don't want to. I don't. You know what it is? I don't want to date. I want to be in a relationship that's been going on for 2 years. I want to skip the first 2 years. It's almost like I want to meet somebody and then my brain goes into a time machine and 2 years later comes back out and hopefully it's relatively stable. But the whole first part of it, the whole, the romance and the falling in love bullshit, I don't know. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. And am I being cynical? Yes! It's a lot of personal information. I get that. I do get that. There might be 2 people watching. I don't know. I don't know what's happening. But the good news is, by the end of this, I'm going to take this recording and I'm going to publish it as a podcast so that future generations of 0 people will be able to listen to it. But you know what? Woody Allen says 99% of success is showing up. And apparently the other 1% of success is having an audience. Which you'd think it would be reversed. You'd think the showing up is just the 1% and then that audience is the 99%. But it's no, my friends. 99% is showing up. What I am doing right now by performing in front of maybe 2 people, probably 0, is I am opening my heart up to God and saying, here I am, so that God can say, what was your name again? Sorry, are you a human? I thought you were a lemur. Man, I didn't even have you in the right category. Well, how can I help you? That's what I'm thinking there. All right, I've been in seething anger for 2 straight days. Seething anger. I'm tired of, it's hard to work at a comedy club and book things when there's nothing to book. When, yesterday there was a venue and today, there may not be. It's all possibly going to be locked down again. It's like I am managing the calendar for Pompeii. That's kind of what it feels like. That is definitely what it feels like. It's like, well, provided we survive the explosion, let's aim to do that show on the 5th. Assuming we're not burned to death in the lava, let's how about another open mic? That's where I'm at there. I'm going to tell you something. Because people have said to me, Josh, you need to have a guest on your podcast. It needs to be more than just you talking into your phone, riffing off of nothing. And everyone is probably right. And I think you can tell by the ratings. But I'm just I want to be able to prove that I can do it by myself. Because if I can do it by myself, then that means I don't need anyone's help. And if I don't need anyone's help, I don't need to risk being abandoned. So see, I think there's a fear of abandonment that's becoming a running theme here at all levels. So I reject everyone else. I push people away. I reject love. And yet, at the same time, I complain that not enough people love me to follow me to watch any of this. That is what is happening right there. We may be up to 3 people watching. I can't tell. I don't trust Instagram. I don't trust any social media platform. The only thing I trust, I was about to say my body. I don't know why I would have even said that. I do not trust my body, not in the least. And I got a call from my dad today. That was, he got a test that came back, and apparently he has something with the wall of his bladder. There's an issue with the wall of his bladder. I don't know why they call it a wall. I think it's isn't it more of a pouch, a bladder, something with the wall of his bladder. And I asked him, well, what does that mean? And he's like, I don't know. I'm having a video conference with the doctor tomorrow. By the way, why weren't we doing video conferences with doctors before this? When 9 times out of 10 you go there and they're like, yeah, we need to send you to a specialist, or we need to do another test. I don't know. Like I have to drive to a doctor's office for the doctor to say, nah, I don't know. When that could have been done via a video chat or a call. Why weren't we doing this sooner? That is the one silver lining of COVID. And Postmates. I like Postmates. There's probably another silver lining of COVID. I don't know. Biden getting elected. Because it would have been not Biden before. Yes, I voted for Biden. Yes, Internet. I voted for Biden. I have a lot of problems with Trump. I don't normally like to get political because I don't like to get political because I want to be liked, and yet at the same time I refuse to be loved. And that, my friends, is the name of the comedy special that I will release for 0 people. I want to be liked, but I refuse to be loved. That right there. There it is! Yeah, that felt good. That was delicious. Almost as delicious as this peach tranquility tea, which I could probably see. Now, here's the tricky part, because I'm also recording this on another device, and I'm going to publish this as a podcast. And that way, my thinking was, my plan was, I thought, well, I'll do this and also record it as a podcast in case there was any commentary or any comments, and that way I could, riff off of the comments. There have been no comments for 17 minutes. There was one person very nicely who said, amazing. But before that, there was nothing. So, there you go. But you know what? What's happening right now, look, there's 1 to 2 people watching. Maybe 3. Maybe 0. But there's 1.5 people watching right now. I went from 0 to 1.5 people. How did I do it? I didn't give up. That's how, kids. Here's your motivational speech for the DARE program. Kids, you may think there's no hope, but if you put your mind to it and you do an Instagram live and 0 people are watching, by the end of your Instagram live, 1 to 2 people may be watching. And you, my children, if you can do that, you can do anything. So that's good. I'm looking at myself on this broadcast, and there's a shining light that is looking very J.J. Abrams. He likes to do the shining light. Are you willing to advertise your Instagram lives before you go on? As somebody who's been bitching to other people to do that for years, that's a solid suggestion. That would probably help. I think that would definitely help. This was a situation where I was just feeling frustrated, and I was like, you know what, I just want to do this now. And so I did this now. But you know what, that is a great idea. I should probably advertise the event before I do the event. I know better. Or I don't. Or I don't know better. Okay, what's... yes. Thank you. I got a good job, so that's nice. I want to do... I'll say one more thing, and then I'll wrap this up. Keep going? All right. All right. How do I keep going? What do I say? What do I do from here? What else happened today? Well, okay. I read this article that was very frustrating. There's an article that said that 75% of people who are 35 years and younger, or rather, let me rephrase. It was a survey of people who drive Honda Civics, and it said that 75% of people who drive the Honda Civic is 35 years old or younger. And my brain, and I drive a Civic, by the way, my brain filled in the rest of that thought with, and the other 35% of people who drive Honda Civics are failures. What is doubly sad about this is that I'm paraphrasing a Bill Burr joke, where he talks about people are sad and you can tell because they drive Honda Civics. So that was, it's depressing to read an article and basically have that article say, you're a loser. And that's not even the intent of the article, but it sort of is. Yeah, I don't know. So yes, I drive a Honda Civic and I'm older than 35. All right? I majored in theater. I followed my dreams. And one of my dreams was to have 2 to 3 people watching an Instagram live stream. That was one of my dreams. The other dream was to have 60 to 75 people possibly watching a TikTok video I made with 1 or 2 people liking it. And 50 of the 65 people are probably 13 years old. I think I'm attracting 13-year-old depressed boys on TikTok. I don't know if that's a positive direction for the career or a negative direction for the career. But like attracts like, I suppose. I am also aware that the lighting situation here is fraught. The lighting situation here is dubious at best. Dubious at best. Yes, I did accomplish it. I have to make sure that my other device is working. Okay. All right, so I read that article. That was fun. Oh, you know what we should try? Just for shits and giggles. Let's try one thing. I'm curious. I was going to try this. I'm just gonna go to the BBC News and just look at the articles and see if I can mine for material. And the very first thing I see, U.S. records 250,000 COVID-19 deaths. Ah, comedy. America has a higher death toll and more coronavirus infections than any other country. I'm reading this on BBC. I feel like they're judging. It feels a little judgy, BBC, can I just say? As tragic as this is, the fact that it's on BBC, this was probably me reading into it. This is probably me being narcissistic, but I do feel a bit judged by the BBC there. Meanwhile, on CNN.com, it's saying, we're winning! We did it! No, I'm sorry. That would be Trump saying that. By the way, I'm not a Trump fan. If you're a Trump fan and you're watching this, 2 people, well, here's my take. Here's my hot take on that. Here's my hot take on Trump. I don't believe it's good to hate anybody, even people I don't agree with. So I don't want to hate Trump. I don't want to hate Trump. I want to love Trump. This is a bit I've done before. I'm going to do it again. I want to love Trump because I found whenever I've told someone I love them, they leave me. So I want to make love to Trump. I want to put that out there, and I think if I really commit to that, we'll get what we need from him. Oh man. Actually, there was another article I read I want to share that I absolutely loved. So there's a guy who was evading capture by the FBI, and he did it by scuba diving and swimming to the bottom of a lake. And the FBI just sat there for a half hour until he came back up and then arrested him. And I think I've analyzed this guy's escape plan, and you know something? I think he had everything down except the mistaking a lake for an ocean. I think that's where he went wrong. That was an error there. You got to remember the thing about a lake, interesting thing about a lake, it's not an ocean. I don't know if you know this, America. I don't know if you're aware of this, but lakes, there's not a lot of places you can go in that lake. I don't know, maybe he thought he'd be like the Loch Ness Monster and just become a myth. and just people would see him every 15 years and there'd be, shady images of him. And he would live there for thousands of years. Maybe that was the plan. But I think about after a half hour, that plan failed. And he came back up to the surface, and the FBI arrested him. And I got to say, I love the FBI on this. I really do. I love the FBI. I love the way they handled it. I love that the FBI arrested somebody by sitting patiently and waiting for them to surface from a lake. That's not a chase scene you'll see in a primetime NBC episode about the FBI. But it should be. It should be. That should be an entire episode of NCIS, is the three of them sitting by the lake waiting for the guy to come up because he's not in the ocean and he really has no escape plan. Just three guys sitting. They should start fishing. All right, now there's apparently 3 people watching. That's good. And by the way, I just want to give you permission. If you're watching this, I want you to know that you can and leave at any time. And I've been you. I've watched somebody's live stream for 30 seconds and went, I can't do this anymore. And then I left. That's a fair assessment. That is a fair assessment. You can leave at any point. You should leave at any point. This isn't going to get better. This is not going to get better at all. I'm sitting here going, well, if Whitney Cummings is going to live stream to generate new material, why don't I do it? And the answer is because Whitney Cummings has a career. That is what the answer is to that. But yes. Okay, so I read that article. I thought that was amusing. That's fun. Had a 1-hour conversation with my dad today. I have a feeling he's a little scared because of his test results, where he's finding out that he has a problem with his bladder wall, which is, I don't know. You don't know how to respond to that. The thing that sucks. He had no symptoms. It was from a blood test. I have symptoms. I'm peeing all the time. I feel like there's pinching and weird things going on. His bladder's in better shape than I am. Or rather, his bladder is in better shape than my bladder is. Well, maybe it isn't. Hopefully it is. But I did get the sense when I was talking to him today, I got the sense that he was scared. Or either he's scared and he talked to me because he just wanted someone to talk to because he was scared, or he loves me. I don't know anymore. For those of you just joining, I don't know what it is to be loved. I don't trust it. I don't trust it as far as I can throw it. So I push people away. That's why the viewership is low. All right. Okay. Look, guys. I've been doing this for 30 minutes, and I'm going to close this out, and I want to just say I appreciate anyone who watched and anyone who commented. I really appreciate it. And you know what? Maybe next time I will announce this in advance so that there is more of a crowd. Perhaps I will do that next time. But I want to thank you so much for watching. And I want you to stay safe. And just remember, if you're running away from the FBI and you want to try to make a waterbound escape, make sure that the body of water that you are entering into leads to somewhere where the FBI cannot surround you. Just, I know it might, maybe it seems like an obvious thing, but I just want to say that just in case. I want the best for you. I really do. You guys have been great. My name is Josh. Thank you very much. Oh, I'm still recording this. So if you were still there for an entire minute, good for you.